Administer your team work items in Rally. Agile teams use work items to describe what gets done to support the larger feature that is delivered to the customer. In this video, we will cover how work items are used by team members and how you, the admin, can structure them in the best way to guide everyone forward. With the proper permissions, work items and their fields can be viewed from summary pages, detail pages, editors, and via the Web Services API. As an admin, it is important to understand how the work items are used and whether or not they need any customizations. Let's walk through some examples of the built-in work items and look at how some of the frequently used fields may be customized. Remember, any changes you make apply to the entire workspace. It is very important that the program managers and release-trained engineers in the organization agree on customization before you start. When you are ready to make changes, enter Setup mode and then select the Workspaces and Projects link. Select your desired workspace. Select the Fields link. This will bring you to a list of available fields for each work item type in the drop-down list. Select a type, for example, User Stories, and you'll see a list of fields for you to customize. Keep in mind that the organization that you are supporting may not need every field shown. You can sort by selecting the top of some columns. This is helpful for finding fields or to quickly see which fields are custom, required, or visible. To make changes to any of the fields, select the field you would like to change. You will then see a form presenting the attributes of that field for editing. You can clean up your work items and make them easier to use in a couple of ways. Not all custom fields need to be required for the workspace. First, hide unneeded fields except for system fields or those that are required. You have the ability to make fields visible or hidden. The fewer fields, the easier it is to administer the work item. Minimize the addition of required fields. Question whether this information really needs to be required. Required fields add friction to the administration process and add complexity to interactions. Simply, this makes it less likely that team members will update their own work and more likely that another person will have to do it. Once you have made all necessary changes, select Save. Some attributes like name, formatted ID, and creation date are not editable because they are required by the system. Others limit the allowed changes because they are required for specific views or features. For example, you can add options for creation date, but you can't change it from being a required field because it's needed for other features in the system. Now you can see how to customize team work items. Next, we will go over how to create a custom field. Before you create a custom field, be sure you really need it and determine which projects will use it. Once you create it, you cannot delete it. You can only hide it when you no longer need it. From the Fields tab within the workspace you want to edit, choose the type of work item that needs this custom field. Then select the Add New button. Enter the name of the new field as well as the display name. The name is used by the system. Check the Web Services API to make sure you are not duplicating a field name that is already being used somewhere else in the system. Although in some cases this may be allowable, it will create confusion at some future point. The display name controls how the field will display in work item and editor views. Its value can be the same as the field name, and typically is. Give this some thought. If you must change names in the future, it may break any queries or integrations that you have put into place. Select the type of data that this field will hold. You can't change the type after the field is saved. Now indicate if you will require the field, or if not, which projects or teams will see it. If the field is required, it must be visible to everyone. If you are creating a drop-down list, enter the list option one value per line. You may change these values at any time, but you may impact the durations and queries that use them. Select Save. Now let's go over some best practices for customizing fields. Minimize the number of fields you make visible for each work item. By only showing the fields you really need, you will make the administration process simpler for team members. Before you change or create fields, make sure that you double-check your impact on other integrations and remember that changing options for a field may break integrations. Hesitate to impose required attributes. Does this field really need to be required? Why? Is there another way to determine this information? Required fields add friction to the administration process and will add complexity to integrations. Be sure you really need a custom field before you add it. Is there another way you can option or associate the information you want in the field, say with a tag or milestone? Creating a field does so permanently for everyone in the workspace. If you decide later that you don't need it, you cannot delete it, you can only hide it. Be careful when naming. Duplicate names create confusion. Check the Web Services API to make sure that you are not duplicating a name used somewhere else in the system for the same or different purposes. If you must change a name later, you will break queries that use it. Make sure you have agreement from all that are impacted before you make the changes. Use the Occurrences attribute for a field to help you make decisions about customizations. How many occurrences exist for the field that you may want to hide? Are they being used? You may need to do some research before making changes to fields that have a large number of occurrences. Now you understand how to administer your teamwork items in Rally. For more information about Rally and Agile practices, check out our blog and community. Like this video and subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss new content as it's added.